Welcome back to the channel. It is another wild day in the soap world, and the spoilers are dropping a massive bombshell right now. Kristen DiMera is coming home earlier than expected. Yes, you heard that right. Sydney is on her way back to Salem, but why now? Well, it looks like Kristen DiMera is the one pulling the strings. Kristen recently reached out to Sydney. The character was last played by Evelyn Stephenson, but we don't know who is playing her yet. Rumors say Sydney Malakay might take the role, but anyway, Kristen called her, and you have to ask yourself why. Because Kristen is currently on the absolute worst side of EJ DiMera right now. Like, the worst. So what is Kristen doing? And how is Sydney involved in this twisted mess? Let me just dump all this info on you, because my brain is fried from looking at these DiMera family trees. So let's look at the facts. Kristen is plotting. She always is. But right now, she is in deep trouble with EJ. EJ found out that Kristen used Sophia Choi to try and kill Johnny DiMera in that apartment fire. He is furious. He wants Kristen gone. He even kidnapped her, or is planning to. EJ is out for blood. So Kristen knows she needs leverage. And what better leverage than EJ's beloved daughter, Sydney? Kristen is definitely trying to use Sydney as a human shield or a weapon. Probably both, because that is just how Kristen operates. She ruins lives, and she wants to ruin EJ's relationship with his daughter, just completely destroy it. So she calls Sydney up, probably feeding her a bunch of lies about how much EJ needs her, or how EJ is out of control, which, honestly, he kind of is right now. But Kristen is just doing this to save her own skin, and to make EJ suffer. But Sydney has no idea what she is walking into. None at all. When Sydney comes home, she is going to find herself right in the middle of a massive mess. A literal hornet's nest. Sydney probably just wants to spend some time with her dad. She had some issues earlier this year. We don't know all the details, but she just wants some family bonding. Some father-daughter time, but EJ is not in the place to be a good dad right now. His life is falling apart. His experimental resurrection drug, Versavix, is failing. Lexie Carver is dying again. Abe Carver is beating him up in hospital rooms. Johnny is investigating him for tainted drugs. Cat Green is lying to him and working for the ISA. It is just chaos. Absolute chaos. And Sydney is stepping right into the middle of it. Poor girl. She should have just stayed far away. She could have stayed in Europe. She could have gone to college somewhere quiet. But no, she is coming back to Salem. And you really have to wonder if Sydney is going to regret this, like, instantly. Will she find herself wishing she had just stayed with her mom? Sammy Brady is a lot to handle. We all know that. Sammy is a hurricane. But at least Sammy loves her kids fiercely. And Sammy would probably tell Sydney to stay away from the DiMera mansion right now, because the DiMera mansion is basically a war zone. But Sydney's coming back, and she is going to see things she probably shouldn't see. Is she ready for all this DiMera family drama? Probably not. No one ever is. The DiMeras are toxic. They lie. They cheat. They steal. They kill. They hide people in secret rooms. They use brain chips. They resurrect people from the dead, only to have them die again. And Sydney has been shielded from a lot of the worst stuff lately, but not anymore. She is coming back to the belly of the beast, and Kristen is the one holding the door open for her, with a creepy smile on her face. So what happens when Sydney actually gets there? Will she witness what happens to Kristen if EJ decides to take her out? Because EJ's not playing around anymore. He is so angry about Johnny. He is so angry about Lexie. He is losing his mind. And if EJ decides to permanently eliminate Kristen, well, Sydney might just walk in on something horrific. Imagine coming home to reconnect with your dad, and you find out your dad is a monster or a murderer. EJ has done terrible things before, but Sydney is his little girl. He tries to hide the worst parts of himself from her, but he might not be able to hide this. Kristen is pushing him to the edge, and EJ might just snap, and Sydney will be right there to see the fallout. It is going to be so traumatic for her. Just awful. She just wants a dad. But EJ is a mob boss, a corporate raider, a guy who plays God with human lives. He brought Lexie back, and now she is suffering. He is failing everyone around him. Let's just take a minute to think about Sydney's history, because it is a lot. She was switched at birth with Grace. Sammy thought Grace was EJ's baby. Nicole Walker had Sydney. It was a whole big thing. Sydney has been a pawn in DiMera schemes since the literal day she was born. Stefano used her, Nicole used her, and now Kristen is using her. It is like a family tradition, a terrible, toxic family tradition, and Sydney is just trying to live her life, but you can't escape the DiMera name. It follows you, it drags you back in, and Kristen knows exactly which buttons to push. Kristen probably told Sydney that EJ is depressed or sick, or that the family is falling apart and they need her to glue them back together, because Kristen is a master manipulator. She knows how to play on people's emotions, especially a young girl who just wants a normal family. Kristen will play the caring aunt routine. She will act like she just wants to help. But it is all a lie. It is always a lie with Kristen. But EJ is so distracted right now, he might not even realize what Kristen is doing until it is too late. EJ is dealing with Chad screaming at him about Cat Green. He is dealing with Dr. Rolf telling him that Lexie's gonna die again because the rat died. He is dealing with Paulina and Abe hating him. He is dealing with his son Johnny wanting nothing to do with his corporate legacy. Johnny and Theo are teaming up to fix the company, and EJ hates that. EJ's completely isolated. He has no one on his side right now. So when Sydney shows up, he might actually be happy at first. He might think, oh good, my daughter is here, someone who loves me, someone who doesn't think I am a total monster. But then he will find out Kristen brought her here, and that is when the explosion will happen. EJ will lose it. He will absolutely lose it. And the crossfire is going to be brutal. Sydney will be caught right in the middle of a screaming match. Or worse, a physical fight. And what is Kristen's actual endgame here? Does she just want to hurt EJ? Or does she want to recruit Sydney to her side? Kristen loves to collect followers. She loves to twist people's minds. She did it with Sophia. She convinced a teenage girl to try and burn Johnny alive. That is sick. So what is she going to try and convince Sydney to do? Turn against EJ? Steal DiMera secrets? Help Kristen take over the mansion? Kristen already wants the mansion for herself. She claimed it was hers after her legal troubles ended. She is just waiting for Stefano's will to be read. So maybe Sydney's part of that plan too. Maybe Sydney has some claim or some inheritance that Kristen wants to exploit. You never know with Kristen. There is always a hidden agenda. Always a scheme within a scheme. And my fingers are cramping just typing all this out. But it is just so crazy. The writers are just throwing everything at the wall right now. And Sydney is the latest pawn on the chessboard. So yeah, Sydney's coming home, and she is going to regret it big time. She is going to walk into that mansion, see the tension, see the hatred, see the literal blood on the walls, and she is going to want to turn right back around and get on a plane to Europe or wherever Sami is right now. But it will be too late, because once you are in the DiMera web, you cannot just leave. Kristen won't let her. EJ won't let her. She is going to be trapped in Salem, dealing with all this garbage, and we are going to be watching every single second of it, because that is what we do. We watch the train wrecks, and this is going to be a massive train wreck. EJ and Kristen going to war with Sydney stuck right in the middle. It is going to be wild and sad, but mostly wild. So buckle up, because the summer in Salem is just getting started, and it is going to be a bumpy ride.